Hello, gamers. Hello, happy Monday. I remember the day. It is Monday. Let me go over to game screen. Yeah, there we are. We're all set up. Hello. We are back with some more 428 Shibuya Scramble. Last time was genuinely some of the funniest stuff that ever happened on stream. Like, it was like a 5-hour stream. I was fading. I was losing my mind. It was very, very interesting and fun. But we completed the main story. We got the bonus, stuff unlocked, and I was like, oh, okay, there's a lot of bonus stuff. Like, a lot of bonus stuff. Which was very, very interesting. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Shit. Okay, you have a gun. That's cool. That's cool, bro. Indeed, I don't know how I feel about the game requiring you to get all of the bad ends per se in order to see the true end. I mean, like, yeah, and a game that comes up a lot from me playing this game is like Zero Escape, specifically 999. And 999, I guess, is like kind of the same way, where you have to see all the bad ends in order to get the good end, or the best ending. But also, how to describe it? It's also, it's also a pretty short game. Like, 999 is a relatively short game, compared to like the sprawling story of this, where I guess it's trying to show you, and there was a really good message at the end where it was like, it feels like sheer luck that this all happened, but no, it's fate and coincidence, because everyone's story is tied together. And that's like a very beautiful thing and a very poignant way to end off the story. And I guess they're trying to emphasize that point by having you get the bad ends and like see how all of this could go so very wrong. But here's the thing. In like some bad ends, some of them seem like so in character and in world and in reality, but some of them are just like, okay, and then Tama decided to fuck off and go join an eating competition, you know? And then the Ua virus thing never happened, even though it would. It would, but it just never seemingly happened. So it's like a bunch of seemingly non-canon ones with like things that are realistic, and I'm not sure how I feel about seeing all of that. Is my thoughts on it so far, but we'll see. Today we are going to, let me get out of here. No. Where am I going? Okay, let me go back. Let me press this button. Let me return to the title screen. Okay, yay, yippee. Today, I will be going through the pop quiz. The pop quiz in the bonus content area, and reading through all those stories there. So I think that's a good way to do that. And then probably get some of the bad ends. And then next time, on Thursday, we will finish off the rest of whatever there is to see and the true ending of the game. So, yay, yippee! There was also something that I got at the end of this that was like a hint. It was like, hey, go see this one thing in this one timeline. I still have the screenshot. Let me just hop in here and actually do the thing, I guess. So do you have to do this all in one sitting? Oh, no, I remember. Detective Sasayama's pet name for his wife. The answer is Mi-chan. Okay. I would not have remembered that. Okay. If there's something that I do remember, I'll let you know, but there's just no way that I would have ever remembered that. Okay, so I'm guessing this is gonna be Sasayama, his story? Yay! I like how it shows the weird random cat that we got in the dungeon section. I really like that. Who? What? What did it do? I answered a question about Sasayama. And then we got a thing about the shopkeep. That makes no sense. Okay, whatever. One grilled curry soba and make it tasty. What are you talking about? Maki Yoneda snapped from the kitchen. Everything this old gal makes is tasty. She grabbed a bundle of soba noodles and tossed them into the roughly into the roiling pot. Give me 1 second as well. Something is happening. Maybe I need to put my... I'm getting like a feedback. I might have to put my phone here on airplane mode. Okay. Alright. Humming a tune to herself as she tended to the soba, she heard another faint humming join in, seemingly from out of nowhere. Alright, let's do this. The tiny voice had come down from Maki's feet. Oh, okay. Another day for making delicious noodles. I don't know who's talking. A different voice, this time from the shadows of the dingy kitchen shelf. Yeah! A series of diminutive figures, each about the size of a pinky finger, leapt out amidst the haphazard assortment of spice jars. Alright, well, they lined up the floor, these tiny little fairies, 7 in total, all carefully keeping out of Maki's line of sight. So like Ratatouille? They were food sprites that have come from Italy, and they protected the flavor of Dogen Hut's soba noodles. Their leader, Mario, he has a name, Mario. Their leader, Mario, specialized in meat dishes. Salvatore could track down fresh ingredients in the blink of an eye. Cheerful Antonio was a wizard when it came to sauce. There was Marcello, a wine connoisseur and the most sarcastic fellow in the world. Franco, the neat freak, loved a clean and tidy kitchen. None could outmatch the pasta-making skills of Fabrizio, who had a divine touch. Roberto, this is gonna be so relevant to that true ending of the game. Roberto, the quiet one, could tell you all about the pizza dough. Maki set the finished bowl of chilled curry soba on the kitchen table. Now, while the woman's back was turned, the sprites added more salt and dashi stock to the noodles. In the blink of an eye, the soba's seasonings were refined to perfection. This kind of reminds me of, and this is like an anime that I'm sure nobody freaking remembers at this point, but it's Humanity Has Declined, whereas like, where it is what the title says, where it's like humanity has declined, and like there's this new race of quote unquote humans. They're called fairies because they're little guys. They're basically little fairies, but they're the new race that's taking over, and like humans are just slowly dying. But the humans are trying to teach the fairies everything that they know, but the fairies are just kind of also really dumb. really, really dumb, and very, very interesting. So Magnifico. With their work complete, the fairies hid themselves once again. Just why had these 7 food sprites taken up residence at Dogen Hut? The story begins 2 years prior. I'm so interested. I'm so invested right now. Mario and the others have been dwelling in a 3-star restaurant in Rome when they'd heard rumors that there was a 5-star restaurant popping up all over Japan. Naturally, as food sprites, they couldn't just stand idly by. Hey everyone, let's go to Japan! And so, heeding Mario's rally cry, the gang snuck aboard a plane bound for Tokyo. Aren't you fairies? Don't you have wings? You can't just fly there? But after finally arriving at their destination, they were unable to find any 5-star restaurants anywhere. By the time they realized that the rumors they'd heard had been in fact mere rumors, they were starving, nearly on the verge of death. They wandered about aimlessly until they arrived in Shibuya. Then, as they tottered their way up Dogenzaka, the aroma of curry tickled their noses. The scent came from a soba restaurant called Dogen Hut, partway up the hill. The sprites peeked inside and saw Maki and her husband busily at work. Right. I think her husband, who has since passed away, right? Sneaking into the kitchen, they found that the scent of curry was wafting from a porcelain bow on the counter. Bow? This was Dogen Hut's house specialty, chilled curry soba. Despite their misgivings, the sprites stole themselves a taste. What is this? The food sprites looked at one another in surprise. The dashi, the soy sauce, and curry all come together in perfect harmony. The smooth and chewy noodles offer a different appeal than pasta. The group shouted in excitement, caught up in their moment. So taken were they by the chilled curry soba that they decided to settle down in Dogen Hut's kitchen from that day onward. By then, the owner of Dogen Hut had fell ill and passed away. Right, okay. So I did remember that. After Maki took over her late husband's restaurant, it quickly became apparent that she had no talent for cooking whatsoever. Shockingly, she couldn't even tell the difference between salt and sugar, rice wine and vinegar. And she had no idea how to make the soup from chilled curry soba, sometimes tossing things like curried-flavored rice crackers and meat and potatoes into the pot. Oh, that's certainly a choice. If Maki were left to her own devices, the restaurant was sure to go under. "We're the only ones who can save this place," Mario declared. None of the others had any objections. The flavor of the chilled curry soba was worth any effort. And today, yet again, that specialty soba was delighting customers' palates thanks to the helping hands of the sprites. "Okay," Maki called out. "One chilled curry soba. Sorry for the wait." Delicious as ever, ma'am. You really can't get this flavor anywhere else because there's literal fairies working here." Down by Maki's feet, the sprites frowned. "We're the ones who made it, though." Maintaining the flavor of the restaurant's dishes was certainly worth doing. Recently, however, it had begun to feel a little empty. Nobody knew that the food sprites who made the soba special. Maki was always praised for how tasty it was. There was no finer joy in cooking than seeing the smiles on diners' faces. But despite all the sprites' hard work, no one had ever had a smile for them. They need to remain hidden, but the lack of recognition still left them feeling rather lonely. "Oh, that's right," Maki announced brightly. "There's been some talk about releasing a Dogen Hut recipe book." With a start, the sprites looked at her as one. The woman was clearly overjoyed. "Uh-oh, what do we do?" A cold sweat broke out across the sprites' foreheads. This was Maki here. She'd probably write about how she made the stock using curry crackers and stuff. "But as busy as you are running the restaurant, do you even have time to write a book?" the customer asked in between happy slurps of his soba. "Oh, don't you worry about that." "Oh, don't you worry about that," Maki declared with a broad grin. "I'll get it written in my sleep." And so the sprites had more work to do. The customer blinked in disbelief. "Another extra story. Yeah. Hello, Black Blue. I'm going through all the extra stories today. So I have the pop quiz answers and we're gonna go through each one of them. Also seeing all the hints that they give us, because I remember getting one last time as well. "You can't write a book while you're sleeping," he said. "Yes, I can. There are these little sprites who will write it for me while I'm in bed. How do you know about the sprites?" "Oh, come on. Now you're just talking fairy tales." The customer chortled loudly. I find chortled to be a very interesting word. Shocked, the sprites stared up at Maki. "Wait," one of them whispered. "Does she?" added another. Suddenly, Maki cast her gaze downward. "You'll handle the book for me, won't you?" she whispered. You've known all along?" The sprite's jaws hung agape. "Of course I have," Maki murmured with a grin and a chuckle. "I don't know how to make a chilled curry soba that tastes that good, so thank you. Because of you, my husband's restaurant has been able to go on." And when they saw the big smile on Maki's face, the sprites knew that all their effort had been worth it. "Well, guess we've gotta help out then," Mario said. "It'll take a bit of overtime, but we'll write your book for you, ma'am." "I'm not sure I like the idea of revealing our recipes to the public, though," Salvatore muttered. And we'll put our hearts into the rest of the menu items too, not just the chilled curry soba," Fabrizio added. Despite all their grumbling, though, the sprites couldn't keep their happiness from their faces. Finn. Select hint. That was an amazing thing that I'm sure is going to be so very, very relevant to the true ending of the game. Did you enjoy the tale of Dogen Hut's unexpected secret? Shake off your amazement because it's time for some new info. In Tama's story, at the 1400 time block, that suit that she's lugging around in her bag sure looks heavy. Try taking a good look at her hauling that weight. What might happen? Happy hunting and see you next time. Is this the woman that murdered you, right? Yeah, it is. She murdered me in that one timeline. So she's so happy and nice with the sprites, but she also commits murder. So that's fun. That's fun. Let me take a picture of this, and then we're gonna go and do that, honestly. Yay! Alright, let's get out of here. Special episode added to bonus content. Yay! Alright, this is question 3, but we can get out of here. Okay. Let me get out of here before I get too distracted. Let's go and to the 1400 time block is what it said. Okay. Time block. 14... No. you people don't go up to 1400. Hold on. 14... Here. Here? Okay. And then we're going to your time block. And what did you say specifically? Hold on. Shake off your amazing, and yeah, the suit that she's looking around sure looks heavy. Try taking a good look at her hauling that weight. What might happen? Happy hunting and see you next time. I wonder if you could get these before the hint shows up. I assume so, but maybe it's like unlocked by doing that. Getting rid of the suit. Okay. I love this theme. I love this theme. You know, you look really familiar. Oh, these cutouts. I see. It was this one. I would say that, like... How would I describe it? I would say that definitely, this theme reminds me of, like, simpler times in the story. So maybe that's why I like it so much. Okay, maybe he wants to help me. I should... no, we'll just... Oh, wait. Do I have to... I feel a little guilty. Maybe I should deal with it myself. He looks a little disappointed. I'm pretty sure you can get it before, but it's such an obscure method that you basically have to already know about it beforehand. Okay. Hold on. Let me go back, because I messed up. I messed up. Oh, right. What should I do? Alright. He obviously wants to help me. May as well have him get rid of the costume, too. Maybe I should deal with it myself. Oh, okay. Okay, never mind. Well, we were on the right track. We were on the right track. I was not reading it. So I have to look at Maria looking around the thing. I buy the necklace for 30k. Alright. So what am I supposed to be looking at? What am I supposed to be looking for? Keep staring or at this one photo, or take a good look at her hauling that weight. What might happen? What might happen? Just wait for it. Just wait for it. Just wait for it. It's gonna be obvious. Okay, I see. So maybe they add like a different animation in here as well, of like her falling down and then getting back up. This is like really... Oh, I see it. I see it on the side. Is that a Clean Freak? I think it is, or Mean Clean, or whatever thing it was. Oh, okay. This is so detailed that no one would ever do this. Mean Clean, yeah. Like, nobody would ever accidentally stumble upon this, especially if you're not reading out the dialogue or something like that. The only way is that you would have to specifically stop on this screen and be like, oh, okay. You'd have to be idling around this screen for a long time. Yeah, exactly. What do you have to tell me, Mean Clean? What do you have to tell me? Is this it? Has it stopped moving? No, it's still going. It's still going. Oh gosh, okay. Well, this is gonna take a while. Well, in that case, I'm gonna take a sip of water because I need to do so. I went to the gym again today, and I think one of the biggest things for me is like I'm not eating like I'm not eating as much as I should with like the amount of energy that I'm outputting, and also not getting enough water back. That's something that I should probably be doing it. So, 1 second. All right, getting them gains. Well, mostly working on conditioning, but yeah, maybe some gains as well. All right, this is it. I think this is it. For real, it's stopped moving. So this was the thing that they wanted me to see. Okay, just making sure then. Do I need to take a picture of this? Is this relevant? Okay, so these are gonna be relevant to the true ending. Let me take a picture of the full screen, actually. I feel like I'm, like, I don't know, like, this is a... What do you call that? Like an ARG? It's like one of those games where it's like things happen. And I can't believe that this is just put inside the game. Alright, what was the other one as well? Hold on. If I go to... desktop, and then... Okay, the Loan Sharks. An Osawa story at 12. Okay. Hold on. I take a picture of that. Cool. And let me tab back into the game, and let's go ahead and do this. So, in Osawa's story at 12, so all the way up here. Ah, man, Kajiwara, I missed you. I missed you, man. Okay, here. In the 12 diamond block, yeah. Rubber gloves appear at some point. So I have to skip around until I find them. During that scene, wait for the zoom. Have fun with that and see you next time. Okay. Rubber gloves appear at some point. So, I'm gonna see, but if it's basically like you have to wait until codes show up. If it's not like fun little Easter eggs, and instead like there are certain codes that you need because you need that to get the true end. If it's something like that, then I'll probably just look that up and use a guide, to be honest. Because I don't know how long I would want to wait for certain stuff to show up on the screen, essentially. But we're still gonna go through the pop quiz and get all the answers. She recently developed an interest. Okay. His daughter's newfound. It feels like all such a distant memory. I don't know about all of them. I do know a fair bit of them are just codes like that. Okay. I see. Well, somebody's probably written about it online in that case. When do gloves appear? And I think also as well, it's like they don't say... I mean, like the last one that we did with Maria, it was right there at that beginning of the block. But they don't say like, oh, at 12:05 or something. They don't say the immediate time. They want you to really go searching for it. And it's like, that's fun. That's fun. That's cool and neat. But I don't know about that. Oh, I love this shot. Man, there were so many good shots in Osawa's stories. It's just really, really good. Although I'm not sure if seeing the code is like a flag that's needed to allow them to be inputted. I would hope not. I would hope not, because otherwise... I might just do that off screen then, honestly. I might do that off stream. Because I can't, I can't imagine like having to sit here and go through all of that. I'd rather go and look for the bad ends in that case. I think that's a better use of time. Do, do, do. That's funny. You have a tendency. Oh, there's Tanaka. We haven't... Man, I haven't seen him in forever. I forgot about him. Kajiwara didn't move. Detective, it's me, Kajiwara. Have you forgotten about me? I have not, Kajiwara. A lot of good characters showed up in Osawa's route in particular. So. Oh, there he is. Oh, is this gonna be like when... I think I know. It's like gloves show up. Yeah, gloves show up because the toilet is clogged? Anyway, sir, you were saying? No, I just want to let you know the toilet is clogged. Something doesn't make sense. Yeah. Hold on. Leave that. Leave that there. You see, the toilet is clogged. There we go. There we go. I do remember. I missed the Tanaka x Osawa ship. It was short-lived. It was very short-lived. But Kajiwara and Osawa reigned supreme. Think of it as a blessing in disguise, Mr. Osawa. Alright, who is wearing gloves? This was almost funny. It is funny. Don't worry, things are gonna be so heartbreaking later. It's kind of strange to think about in the normal ending of the game is like he kind of technically dies. Where it's like he's just hours earlier he was just unclogging a toilet and it was just kind of hilarious and funny. I don't believe he's dead though in the true end. I don't believe it. Alright. I've been waiting. Alright. Where are the gloves? Where are the gloves? Alright. I chose C last time. Let's continue with it. I'm not sure. I don't understand. Hold on. It was an email from Hitomi. There's a man following me. Man, I think that I'm not going to be able to find this easily. Okay. Here's water. I don't see gloves in these photos per se. Wasn't Kajiwara wearing the gloves? Where did Kajiwara go? Where did he go? Frustrations. The source of the clog. Were you wearing them? You're still here. Yes, sir. I was told to keep an eye on you after all. Are you wearing gloves right now? No, you're not. Well, gosh darn it. Well, gosh darn it. Probably back again then. After Osawa went back to his office, Kajiwara came in with his gloves. Came in with his gloves on saying that he unclogged the toilet. So immediately afterwards. Right before he gave the plane ticket. Here? Not here. This is something else. Oh, there's Kajiwara again. The door twist. Yeah! We did it! Woo! Alright. There they are. Gloves. Gloves. And hopefully this is the right image that I just need to like wait on and sit on until something happens, I guess. Okay. Okay. Well, we're just gonna wait here. It's and singular glove instead of gloves plural. Is that gonna matter? Hopefully not. Hopefully not. I remember because it was discussing how he touched Osawa's hands controlling the computer. Oh man. It's like I would not remember this at all in the slightest. Yeah, somebody was wearing gloves at some point. It's like I remember vaguely, but not really. It doesn't look like the screen is moving. So the screen has to be moving. Please don't come in here without accent. Okay. Okay, now the screen is moving. And the singular glove, but it has to be a moving screen. Otherwise, it won't show up. Okay. I just want to make sure and confirm that this is another code. When it is another code, from there, I think we're just gonna read. We're just gonna read the pop quiz stories, side stories, and then get some of the bad ends. And then maybe, I don't know, maybe somebody has posted all the codes online. What is it for exactly? Is it required for the true end of the game? It's not like a, I don't know, a real life thing that happened in 2008 when this game came out. And it's like, you don't need to see this, by the way. I don't think so. The brand of glove is 428. Oh. Hello, Chu. You know what? Maybe so. Maybe that's the real 428. Maybe everything is 428 and it's all connected. My god. Hello, Chu. I hope you've been well. We are waiting for secrets, the game to show us its secrets by waiting very, very slowly for the screens to pan to the side. I hope you are doing well. Oh. Yep, that looks like another code to me. Huh. This would very much be like you would have to... The only way you could stumble across this is like, oh, I'm playing the game and then I just had to stop because I'm gonna go eat food and like, I don't know, get dinner or something. It's like, you come back and you're like, what the hell is this? You're gonna be so confused by it. Alright. Is that the code? Yeah, it's another code. Alright, well, we don't have to wait for the rest of this then. Oh, do you have to press the code on this screen? I don't... Do I have to? Is this PlayStation stuff? Hopefully so, because otherwise circle is wrong. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. What the fuck? What the hell? Okay. All right. Okay, cool. I was wondering if we were keeping all of the codes to like input later in a certain thing, and it's like, okay, that's a little better. I actually like that a lot more. Because otherwise I would just be bored out of my mind and like, what the hell is the point of this? That's fun. That's very fun. On the bright side, I don't think you need to wait for the code to show up to input it, so you can still use the guide. Yeah, that is true. That is true. So, hold on. Let me go. Kachiwara looked across the interrogation room table at the robbery suspect who sat opposite. Please, the detective said, all I ask is that you tell me what you know. What's in it for me if I do? The suspect leaned back in his seat and crossed his arms, a smug look in his face. A casual observer, thank you for the clip, by the way. Thank you for the clip. A casual observer glancing in at the door would have had trouble deciding who was interrogating whom. A less experienced detective would have probably blown a fuse. What's in it for you? Kajiwara remained as detached as ever. Over years of interrogation practice, he developed a laid-back, low-pressure style. Well, if you don't give me anything, I'm just going to have to keep talking. By now, their back and forth had been going on for quite some time. Kajiwara stole a glance at his wristwatch. It was after 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I know you didn't have lunch, so I bet you're hungry. Here, eat up. The detective produced a deep-fried curry bun from his pocket. Oh, that sounds nice. That sounds nice. Food. The man eyed it dubiously. Would you prefer a banana? What is with you and bananas? Are we going to get that backstory? Asked Kajiwara. The man cracked a faint smile as he accepted the curry bun. You sure it's okay doing this? Why wouldn't it be? Isn't this an under-the-table bribe to get me to incriminate myself? What if I testify in court that I was coerced into giving a confession? Then I'll bill you for the curry bun. With tax, it comes out to about 280 yen. The suspect was taken aback. He ate 428 bananas one day. Of course. How could I be so blind? This man's pockets are bottomless. It really is Doraemon. It really is Doraemon. The suspect was taken back. 280 yen. Isn't that kind of expensive? They're handmade from my favorite bakery. Waited in line myself to buy them this morning. Kajiwara took another curry bun from his pocket out for himself. The two ate in silence, a temporary cessation, I guess, of hostilities. Need something to drink? The detective produced a carton of milk from his pocket, huh? I hate milk. It gives me indigestion. I see. Kajiwara reached back into his pocket, this time pulling out a cup. Oh, hey, hold up. The man's expression turned quizzical. What is this? It's a vessel you use for drinking beverages. That's not the point. Kajiwara, no, I know what a cup is. Kajiwara pulled a teapot out of his pocket. This man's pockets are truly bottomless. I just don't understand. He just pat himself on the back for waiting in line. He did. He truly did. But it probably shows the criminal that he's honest. He's an honest man just living an honest life. Kajiwara pulled a teapot out from his pocket. It was filled with scalding hot black tea. All right. This shouldn't upset your stomach. Go on, have a cup. Seriously, hold on. Oh, are you not familiar with black tea either? No, that's not it. The man slammed his hands on the table and glared back at Kajiwara. What the hell is with your pockets? How much stuff do you have packed in there? How much? Shall we see? Kajiwara reached a hand into his pocket. He proceeded to pull out a comb, a handheld video game, some rice crackers, a screwdriver, a folding umbrella, a stuffed Tama plush. How? Okay. Wait. The man waved his arms in agitation. How the heck do you have so much stuff in there? It's quite convenient, really. That's not the point, the man shouted. The interrogation room door opened and another policeman stuck his head in. Detective Kajiwara, may I have a moment? From the look of the other officer's face, Kajiwara surmised at once what was going on. There was a new case. He stepped out of the briefing room and his colleague explained the situation. Oh, is that going to be linked back to Osawa? So then, who attended to this guy? Did he ever find out the answer? 428 items in my pocket scramble. Indeed. He's just an expected Inspector Gadget at this point. Yeah, basically. He stepped out of the briefing room and his colleague explained the situation. We've received a tip-off that a wanted individual has checked into Shibuya Central Hospital under an assumed name. Okay, well, never mind. It has nothing to do with the story. Nothing to do with it. Leaving the robbery suspect to another detective, Kajiwara prepared to head to the scene. When he got to the motor pool, however, he found that all of the squad cars had been taken out. Without much other choice, he hopped onto a bicycle. I thought for sure he was going to pull out a car from his pocket and then just drive that. He took a rotating police light from his pocket, okay, cool, and set it in the bike's basket. Then he pedaled away at top speed. Upon arriving at the hospital, Kajiwara hurried into the lobby. He scanned the area looking for the suspect. The individual in question was 180 centimeters tall, weighed about 90 kilos, and had a big scar near one eye. Kajiwara recalled hearing that he was a former rugby player. His colleague, Detective Kano, had been a rugby player too. Yes, I remember that actually. I remember that. Um, he'd probably pull out the parts of the car one by one and just assemble it, and just go on his very merry way, basically. Um, Hello, Saruka. Hello. How much longer in this game do we still have? It's way longer than I expected. At least two more streams. At least two more streams of this, I think. Probably. So, main story is done, true. Now we're just getting like the goofy side content, and then at some point the true ending will unlock. So, it's a very expansive game. I was not expecting this much. I was losing my mind at the end of last stream because I streamed for 5 hours and I was like, I don't understand. Why does the game end? I don't understand. So, but hello, Saruka. I hope you have been well. At least 4 more hours of post game, indeed. From what Kajiwara had seen, most rugby players were quite physically capable. This arrest will require some finesse. Aha! The detective voiced his surprise aloud. A large-statured man was sitting on one of the sofas in the lobby. Surely Kajiwara couldn't have gotten so lucky right off the bat. He quietly approached and peered at the man's face. The fellow had a big scar near his eye. There was no doubt about it. This was the wanted man. Excuse me, Kajiwara said calmly. The suspect started, then lunged forward and gave him a powerful shove. The man was even stronger than Kajiwara had imagined. The detective went sprawling onto the lobby floor. The man took off running. He was remarkably quick for someone who was supposed to be sick. We still don't know what 428 means. Yep, we still don't know what 428 means. I'm just in shock. I'm baffled. How could this be? That's awesome though. What a long, complex game. Glad you're still enjoying it. Yeah, definitely. So, once he made his way outside, he snatched Kajiwara's bicycle and zoomed away. Damn it. The detective pulled out a skateboard from his pocket and went after him. Amazing. Of course he would. The culprit took a look back at it over his shoulder. His jaw dropped in astonishment. He sped into a nearby parking garage. Evidently, he had some sort of remote control because a shutter dropped down to close the entrance from behind him. What the heck? Taking a chainsaw from his... Amazing. Taking a chainsaw from his pocket, Kajiwara cut through the steel shutter like it was paper. Of course, because and also the other guy just happened to have a shutter like remote control in his pocket. Okay, okay. When he stepped inside, he saw the suspect was taking the elevator to the rooftop. By the time Kajiwara reached the rooftop himself, the man had hopped over the fence guard and leapt to the building next door. The crook grinned at him, his face flushed with triumph. There was a good 6-meter gap between the buildings. Kajiwara would never be able to make that jump. It reminds me of what's the anime? Zom 100, like zombie Zom it was Zom 100. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. It's like the zombie anime that came out relatively recently where it's like, oh, well, the world has ended, so it's time for me to go and live my life. Yippee, wahoo. I really like that anime. But it kind of reminds me of that where it's like the rugby players can kind of just do anything. They can do anything and scale multiple buildings and like they're just fine. They'll be fine. So, I'm planning on reading that soon. It is very, very good. I like the anime as well. I read the anime or I watched the anime even. So that's what I'm familiar with, but yeah. I imagine the manga is also pretty good. Yeah, Zombie 100. Okay, good. Just making sure that I remember that. Aha, I've got just the thing. From his pocket, the detective pulled a long rope with a grappling hook on one end. Hurling the hook with all his strength, he hooked it onto the fence of the adjoining building. Yeah! Unleashing a battle cry, the detective jumped and swung to the next building. Of course. The suspect was dumbstruck as Kajiwara stood before him. Okay, I think that's enough of this little game of tag, Kajiwara said. But there was still a glint of defiance in the criminal's eyes. He crouched low, shoulders hunched and arms at the ready. He looked like he was going to launch into a rugby tackle. Kajiwara couldn't stand to a head-on charge from someone that big. He might as well go careening over the edge of the roof to splatter on the concrete far below. Should he dodge aside then? No, if this guy was a rugby player, that would be no easy feat. The culprit stared him down, then began to rush forward. Dodging wasn't an option. Neither was bearing the brunt of the impact, which left only one thing, so pull out the chainsaw again. Aha! Kajiwara pulled a hose from his pocket. It was the kind used by fire engines 50 millimeters in diameter. Take this! Just before the criminal could land the tackle, the limp hose suddenly plumped up. A massive torrent of water gushed forward. Of course it did. The burly man blasted backward as if he were an empty paper bag. Could you imagine being this guy and just being like, what the hell? What the fuck is going on? There's more where that came from. Kajiwara continued to unload water on the man, battering him into unconsciousness. Then he looked down at the culprit, lying there on the rooftop, and quietly shook his head. If you hadn't tried to resist, none of this would have been necessary. Kajiwara himself was drenched head to toe with water. He reached into his pocket for his handkerchief. His hand stopped. Kajiwara sighed and shook his head. Of all the days to forget his handkerchief. Amazing. All right, there's no hint for this one. Good. I was about to be like, how the hell? Special episode added to bonus content. Okay, I see. Because those were the ones that had like a static screen on them, and I was like, what are they? Why do they keep showing up? That's what these are. Okay, I see. Well, that was very informative and going to be so important for the true end of the game. It really is. Really, really is. What is this pocket? It's the Doraemon pocket. The pocket of legend. The pocket of infinity. Okay. Let's go back to friggin' Maria. And let's get the other one, because I have a screenshot of that at the very least, so we don't have to wait like 10 billion years. Can I just input them at any time? I don't imagine so. Let me check. Nope, that didn't work. That did not work. Game was like, what are you doing? Okay. I feel a little guilty, so I decide to get out of there. Do 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 do. Oh, okay. All right, it's time. Phone, don't die on me, please. I'm begging you. I'm begging you. Hold on. Dot 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 dot. Yeah! Woohoo! Who is this? What? Who is this? Okay. Masamichi Fukuma. Crunch, crunch. Crunch, 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 crunch. Masamichi. Oh, is this the guy? The father of the guy who came to collect the suit, I think? Why do I even remember that? Why do I remember that? Masamichi Fukuyama sits on a cardboard box, nibbling away at some rice crackers. Crunch, crunch. Crunch, 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 crunch. Fukuma is in charge of making deliveries for a costume rental company. Once he gets an ordered item to his destination, his job is pretty much done. Okay, so he was the guy that showed up. I think so. Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure if he's the owner or the guy that just showed up. Today, his mouth is on autopilot as he starts at the big screen TV in the office. As he stares even, reading. The afternoon variety show is doing a feature on the big revival concert for the legendary hard rock band Z Japonica. Fukuma lets out a big yawn. There's nothing interesting in the way of news either. He considers pretending that he has another delivery and taking the company vehicle over by Aoyama Cemetery, where he can sneak a quick nap. Suddenly, the door to the room swings open. Bounding through comes a pink rabbit. Oh, that's the guy. Okay, the owner of the company was the guy who's always wearing a pink rabbit suit, I believe. Yeah. And then you're just the worker that showed up. Okay. All right. I can't believe I remember that. Fukuma quickly stands at attention. He does this because he's afraid that the rabbit is his father. Okay, that's your father. His father owns the rental company and has recently grown so fond of mascot costumes that he's rarely seen outside his rabbit suit. Most of his employees don't even know what he actually looks like. Sorry I'm late. Oh. Oh, sorry I'm late. A woman's voice emerges from the rabbit's mouth, panting raspily. Now that Fukuma has calmed down enough to process things, he recalls that his father's costume is brown. It's a wild rabbit. Just an amazing wild rabbit, sure. The pink bunny costume is the one the company has on hand for a rental. Fukuma lets out a sigh of relief. I'm here to return this. The rabbit squirms in an attempt to remove her head, but she can't quite reach the fasteners. Here, let me help you with that. Fukuma gives her a hand and tugs the head off by the ears. The head pops off, revealing the attractive, slightly ruddy face of a young woman. Is this a woman that I would know from the story? Her hair is done up, and beads of sweat run down her neck. Thank you so much. That's a huge help. The pink rabbit with the girl's face smiles. Fukuma swallows. His heart skips a beat. She's perfect. I suppose I have to have this back by 5 p.m. Is that still okay? Fukuma checks the clock on the wall. It's coming up on 5 o'clock exactly. Yes, that's quite all right. If you can just take the costume off now. Good. Relief shows on the woman's face, and then just as quickly vanishes. You would have clothes under, right? Oh, she says in dismay. Wait, no. What's the matter? The woman looks away. This suit's really hot, so I'm not wearing the whole lot underneath. Not wearing a lot? A flurry of appealing images rush through Fukuyama's head. I'm sorry to ask, but is there a room someplace where I could get changed? Oh my, oh my. Of course, a room. I can show you to a room. Shyly, Fukuma leads the young woman to a spare room. Once you're done changing, just let me know. He gently shuts the door and then starts to head off. A groan of discomfort stops Fukuma in his tracks. Right there, the only ones in the office are him and this young woman. He presses his ear to the door and hears the sound of a zipper being zipped down. Oh, my arms. He can hear her squirming her way free from the body of from the body piece. Is this a kink for you? I feel like I no longer want to learn about Masamichi Fukuma. I feel like I kind of don't want to know. The arms are always the toughest part when you're new to things. He imagines her twisting her body this way and that as she strains against the costume. Fukuma's breath quickens. Okay, let's just... Oh. The sound of a piece of furniture being knocked over comes through the door. Are you all right, miss? Fukuma calls out hurriedly. Sorry, I just tripped. Are you hurt? I'm okay. This thing is just really hard to get out of. The sweat has the fabric all stuck to my skin. Stuck to her skin with sweat. Such simple words to fiercely entice a man's fantasies. So, what should I do? She asked meekly. What should I do? What does come next? Fukuma's fantasies run all the more wild. I'm sorry, it's really awkward to ask this, but would you mind coming in here? There it is. Oh, that was her speaking. Her idea, not mine. Yes, of course. He'll head on in. Carefully, Fukuma opens the door. The woman stands there, the rabbit suit halfway off. Her slender shoulders are exposed beneath the frowning face. He also notices that she is rather well endowed, given her slender frame. I'm sorry, I think the zipper along the back is snagged on the fabric. It won't come down. The woman turns to show her back. Her smooth, pale skin glows. Her sweat glistens in the light. Would you mind giving me a hand with this? Fukuma's voice spikes unintentionally. The woman quickly whirls around. She draws her hand up to her chest. He can't take his eyes off her cleavage. It's like, this is an amazing sub-story that I can't wait for this to be relevant in the true ending of the game when we meet Masamichi Fukuma and we learn that he's the real 428 all along, of course. Hey now, just where are you looking? No, I'm not. I'm not looking at anything. Fukuma forces himself to cover his eyes with a hand. Peeking between his fingers, he gets a glimpse of her face, red with anger. It's okay, he assures her. I know where everything is, even with my eyes closed. All right, if you be so kind, then. At last, she seems relieved. She turns to face the window, again presenting her back. Now's my chance. Fukuma's eyes snap back open, and he drinks in the sight of the young woman's back. You're not looking, are you? No, of course not. I can see her eyes are open in the reflection of the window. Sorry. This time, Fukuma does really close his eyes and begins groping forward in search of the zipper. Hey, watch your hands! So sorry, just trying to feel my way around. My back is really sensitive. Man is a troubled animal. Simply hearing that her back is sensitive has his blood pressure spiking through the roof again. His hands shake with excitement, and somehow his arm gets lodged inside the suit. Of course it does. Sorry. Her bare skin is slick with sweat and wonderfully smooth. It's been many years now since Fukuma has last had a girlfriend. Yeah, I can tell. I can tell, my guy. He feels like his mind might short circuit out of joy and excitement. Oh, thank you for the lurk, Saruka. Thank you. Enjoy your stay. He shouldn't do this. He has to calm down. This is work. He needs to be professional. It's time for sure, Fukuma vows to himself. Yep. The woman drops down as if weak in the knees. She then proceeds to shuffle away from Fukuma. Oh, this is bad. This time it's real bad. Her posture has made the curves of her backside visible. She crawls on all fours towards the wall in an attempt to get away. That wasn't on purpose, Fukuma pleads. Seeing that she isn't listening, he steps in front of her, spreading his arms wide to bar her way. The first time, my hand slipped because of the sweat, and I made sure to try and make more careful next time, and look, it's the Zipper's fault. Abruptly, the door swings open. Standing there is a wild rabbit. Dad? To Fukuma, the rabbit's long ears look like the devil's horns. The creature marches slowly into the office. It's just a costume, but somehow its fur appears to stand angrily on end. Fukuma needs an excuse. He needs an excuse, and fast. It's not what it looks like. I was just trying to help her get it off, and... He doesn't seem to finish his sentence. The rabbit swings his fist with all his might of the king of beasts. Amazing. I got so much out of that story. All right, well, I'm not enjoying the bonus episodes. I'm not enjoying them, I don't think. Wow. Back to the great music. Let's see. I guess I have to go back now. Yeah, that's the only thing that I have to do at this point. And just keep taking photos from there. Hold on, let me get rid of these in my camera roll. Okay. Let me go back to the main... I keep pressing the wrong button, gosh. Hold on. Let me go back to the main menu. And let's continue with the quiz. Okay. Yeah, okay. It's these ones. So they basically fill out. So however many questions there are in the pop quiz, which I can check right now to be honest. There are 11 answers. So 22? Am I doing math correctly? I think so, hopefully. There are 22 different side stories here, essentially. Special episodes, rather. I should say. And then from there, we have to get all 22 of them. And then from there... oh, gosh. Oh my god, that font. Yep, it's the font of all time. And then from there, I have to get all the bad ends. And then we get, finally, we get the true ending of the game. Okay, this is gonna be a stream. The discounted price for the Miracle Stone, including currency, I think it was 30k, but let's check. It was 5... Yep, I'm a liar. What am I talking about? That wouldn't be discounted at all. How would Maria even get that money? 5,000. What are you talking about? Oh, I have to type in yen as well. Okay. That's very tedious. I don't like that. I don't like that either. That's very much like, you can just make an exception. It's so Mario 64. It really is. It really is. Correct. Oh, boy. The best character in all of gaming, he's back. He's finally here. Junichi Boss. I was in France on a business trip at the time, staying in a cheap apartment on the banks of Seine. Monsieur Boss, you must pay those 10k euros at once. Yeah, that's how Marceau Fortier, a general goods trader, greeted me when I opened his apartment door. It was the most unsophisticated bit of French I'd heard by far in my time there along the Seine. Well, you see, this is all rather sudden. 2 days earlier, I had purchased some health products from Marcel. We'd agreed I could pay the 10k euro bill a month later, and now here he was telling me I needed to pay up at once. Monsieur, if you please. I know French, I'm sorry. I don't know French. Monsieur, if you please. 10,000 euros. Monsieur, if you please. 10,000 euros right now. Marcel, I'm sorry, but I don't have that money. I replied with my own halting French. We had a deal that I could pay a month from now, didn't we? That's not what I hear, monsieur. What I want to hear from you is, oui, Marcel, don't worry, I'll have it right away. I hadn't yet sold any of the health products I'd purchased from Marcel. I was flat out of cash. I couldn't have paid up even if I wanted to. What in the world was going on? Why are you suddenly demanding that I pay right now? Monsieur, I need that money, whatever it takes. By this evening. It's been so long that I've done Boss's voice that I honestly can't even remember what I did. Like, I remember how it sounds, but I don't remember where I placed it. Which is, it's very interesting. He pointed a finger at me. Otherwise, you must have it by this evening. Otherwise, you'll find yourself sinking at the bottom of the Strait of Dover. I'll be in touch. And with that, Marcel departs. Oh man, what am I gonna do now? That bit of grumbling there was in Japanese. I don't have 10k euros anywhere. My reflection in the waters of the Seine looked miserably distorted. Yanugi? I looked up. There was only one person who called me Yanugi, on account of not being able to pronounce my name. Oh, it's me. It's me then. Isabel? The woman you have... Wait. Not a girlfriend. Obviously not. No. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. The woman in my heart... The woman my heart had once burned for stood in the doorway. Had once burned for. So you just kind of hop around from girl to girl. You did the same thing and that's how you ended up in debt the other time. Isabel, what are you doing here? Work. I'll be in Paris for a while. I see. Well, what a coincidence. You're as beautiful as ever, I see. And your hairstyle's the same as ever, too. The sight of a familiar face bolstered my spirits, at least somewhat. She may have firmly rejected my advances, but I still loved her all the same. I've been hearing a lot about you, Isabel told me. The businessman who hops around all over the world. Oh, I'm just always living on edge is all. And when you're doing business with the world, sometimes, even though you know it's dangerous, you need to leap off that edge. Well, so there's this product that I simply have to recommend to you. Here. Oh, that's Isabel talking. Why? Isabel pulled a doll from her handbag and presented it to me. What's this? Isn't it cute? It's a mascot based on Indonesian folk art. Don't you think it would be a huge hit in Japan? It had bumpy green skin and bloodshot eyes. Amazing, of course it would. There were sharp claws on the end of its lizard-like hands and feet. Not only was it not charming, quite frankly, it gave me the creeps. Look, I'm sorry, Isabel. I don't think I need something like this. Why not? Why not, huh? No matter how I looked at it, this just wasn't a design that would sell in Japan. Go on, push its back. Huh? It's back. Give it a push. I did as instructed. The doll's arms and legs waggled almost apologetically. See, isn't that marvelous? The brows knit as I try not to frown in front of her. But she sensed my efforts and her expression turned sad. Oh, you don't like it, do you? How many of these dolls do you have? I asked, feeling something like pity. Around 3,000 or so. Oh, so you're both kind of the same, basically. You're both the same. Wow, 3,000. Would you take them off my hands? Look, I'm sorry, but I really can't. If some other opportunities comes along... I see. I guess I should expect that with a doll this creepy. Isabel turned her back to me, forlorn. And then she muttered softly, I'd be thinking of throwing in an extra 10k euros if you took them off my hands, but... Oh? What was that just now? Well, Oh, hey, hang on, Isabel, hold on. I hurried around in front of her. Could you repeat what you just said, please? You said that if I took them off your hands for you, I'd throw in 10k euros. That's it. I thrust my pointer finger forward triumphantly. With 10k euros coming in, I'd be able to pay what I owed Marcel. But you're just gonna end up back in debt or something? Okay, Isabel. Because of you, I'll happily take those 10k euros. Well, I mean, it's the dolls, not the 10k euros. Please, give me those 10k euros. But the dolls. The dolls and the 10k euros. Okay, I'll bring everything here. How about tonight? No, now, before tonight. I can't do that. Tonight is the soonest I can make it happen. Guess I don't have much of a choice. I'll just have to make Marcel wait a little longer. I murmured that last part so that Isabel couldn't hear. So alright, Isabel, tonight then. Thank you, Yanugi. And don't forget the 10k euros. Don't worry, I have it for you in cash. Seems kind of sketchy to me, but sure. Isabel held out her hand. I really do appreciate this. I'll see you later tonight then. I shook her hand firmly. Likewise, monsieur. Monsieur. Looking quite happy, Isabel departed. Whew, looks like I've got the 10k euro thing settled. I let out a breath I hadn't even realized I'd been holding. When evening came, Marcel returned. Do you have the money? No pleasantries, just right to dunning me. I decided not to point out his impertinence. Oh yes, absolutely, I replied, grinning as I gave him a thumbs up. Really? Ha ha ha! You really are my best friend. Now hurry up and hand it over. With a bright smile, Marcel held out one hand. Well, I can't give it to you right this minute. Why not? Didn't you just tell me you had it a few seconds ago? Please, you'll just have to wait until tonight. The 10k euros are coming then. Merde. Merde. Shaking my head. I shake Monsieur's hand. Marcel snapped, red in the face. Please, Marcel, surely you can wait a bit. We're best friends, right? Hear me out, that's all I ask. You're not my best friend, you're a liar. He who will steal an egg will steal an ox. Look, Marcel, calm down. If you can take it easy and wait until tonight, I can give you the money, I promise. Or would you prefer I take that swim in the Strait of Dover right now instead and give you nothing? That put Marcel's railing to an end. At that, he finally agreed, but insisted on waiting with me. And so we both waited for Isabel there in that cheap apartment. I sat on the floor holding my knees and Marcel followed suit. I suppose you must despise me for this, huh? He mumbled. He picked up a spoon that was lying on the floor near his feet and hurled it through an open window into the scene. Scene. I don't know how to say French words. It disappeared with a sad, lonely plunk. I can't blame you, he said. What with how I showed up out of the blue, demanding that you pay up. Next, he tossed an alarm clock into the river. Okay, you don't have to toss my things out, though. There was another plunk, as before. I suppose I owe you a proper explanation, boss. Marcel was going to throw the TV remote next, but I reached out to stop him. Tell me, Marcel. So I've been saddled with some merchandise that's been a real pain, he began. That sounds interesting. Merde is poop, but as a swear. Oh, okay. Well, today I learned. I took French for a little bit in school, and I hated it, and I was never good at it. So, obviously, none of it carried over. The light of the setting sun shone upon his face. I could now see the bags underneath his eyes. The man looked exhausted. They say that whoever owns this stuff is cursed. His eyes quivered with fear. They also say that the curse stays with you until you can foist it onto someone else, he continues. I had no idea what he's talking about. Uh-oh. Well, I think I know how this is gonna go. Why can't you just throw the stuff out? If you do that, the curse only becomes more powerful. Now he was just trembling dramatically. Whatever had spooked him, he wasn't his usual self, that was for sure. What's happened to you because of this curse so far? I asked. Well, for example, I am loath to recount here what Marcel told me next, but suffice to say, it was horrifying. It was horrifying. And that's why we have this whole entire game and the whole entire Tama route, basically. I only know that from some Assassin's Creed game. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that would make sense. That's fair. That is fair. Oh my, that's awful. And so, I marked these things down to what's practically a giveaway price just to be rid of the lot. But I haven't sold a single one. The warehouse storage fees aren't exactly insignificant. Marcel shook his head from side to side, his expression positively haggard. So then, I thought that maybe there was some fool I could push the inventory off onto. Just give it away. If I threw in 10k euros to go with it, someone had to be dumb enough to take it, I figured. I see. That's why you need the money so urgently then. At last, I understood. But it's alright now. A little while ago, one of my colleagues called and said they found the right sucker. That's good to hear. Oh, boss. Oh, boss. Yeah, so now I need to go with them to hand over the money along with the product's inventory. I see. You're a lifesaver, boss. Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup. Yeah, whatever. Whatever. No. Der Rain, Marcel. Huh? What? What was that? Come again now? And man, it's hard to believe someone was dumb enough to actually want this stuff, even with the 10k euros thrown in, Marcel said. He let out a little chuckle. Hold on a sec. Marcel, can I ask you something real quick? What is it? This colleague you mentioned, the one who found your sucker? It's not a woman named Isabel, is it? Oh, you know her. Yeah, Isabel's great. Got a real knack for finding marks. She's quite the lady. I did the mental math. I give 10k euros to Marcel. Marcel gives that 10k euros to Isabel, along with the cursed merchandise. Isabel gives me 10 more euros and the dolls. I give 10k euros to Marcel. Marcel, these cursed goods, do they happen to be creepy green dolls? Oui, monsieur. He flashed a broad, toothy grin. I slapped myself on the forehead good and hard. And that's where the story ends. Select the hint. How did you enjoy our tale of Boss's bittersweet younger days? If you slap yourself on the forehead along with him, we've got some new information for you. What are these segues? In Kano's story, in the 1500 time block, there's a scene where Kano and Stanley are running. Maybe try sticking around for a little bit. Take a good look, close look, and we'll see you again next time. Okay. There's my alarm. Hold on. You be quiet. Looks like there's no 10k for anyone. There really isn't. Alright, that's been unlocked. Special episode added to bonus content. How should I do this now? I'm thinking that... Yeah, I should just continue on with the questions. And we'll get the other ones later. Fill in the blank. You're the one making the blank argument here. Well, this is obviously a Minorikawa line, but I don't know what he says. You're the one making an extreme argument here? Or is this not a thing that anyone ever said at any point? What is this? How am I supposed to know this? What is this? Is this testing my English capabilities? Okay, confirm. This is an insane pop quiz. Correct, yay! Woohoo! Yeah! Alright, who is this? The Kinder Partners, of course. We needed a story about them, obviously, and we... Of course.
Excuse me, do you have a moment?
Excuse me, do you have a moment? Tape recorder in hand, Chiaki called out to a pair of young girls who were standing by the statue of Hachiko. Each girl carried a lollipop half the size of her face.
What do you two think about Shibuya?
The girls looked at one another. Do you not understand the question? Chiaki pressed. The children slowly licked away at their candy.
Not really,
one of them said at last. Chiaki was taken aback by the girl's grown-up tone.
Yeah? Yeah.
The girls nodded at one another, their faces disapproving. Huh? Chiaki was confused. What's going on? To be honest, I get the feeling they were expecting you to use a guide on the quizzes, is what I would say, but I mean, not to say that the internet didn't exist in 2008, because it obviously did. But I'm just saying, like, it's a crazy thing to like, oh yeah, like people are gonna play this game and post the answers online. You're gonna easily find the answers online. It's like, why is this here? Why is this here in the game? At the time that this came out, they couldn't have expected it. They had to have known, like, they had to have at least thought, like, you're just gonna sit here and figure this out. Huh? Chiaki was confused. What's going on?
Do we know you, lady? Huh? Ah, I see. So this is why people keep saying that adults nowadays have no common sense. Yeah, ease off on the small talk. This is the first time we've ever met, after all. Didn't your mom teach you any manners?
Chiaki took a step backward and wrapped her arms around herself as the children stared at her coldly. Game facts. That's true. That's true. Game facts is eternal. So there is that. But it's also like, man. Like, I can't imagine, like, the first year that this game came out, how many people actually played it, how many of those people then found the answers to all these quizzes and then posted them online, is, like, what I'm trying to figure out. My voice is also dying. Let me take a swig of water. All right. I'm sorry to have upset you.
No, it's okay. Everybody makes mistakes.
Being treated like a child by small children made Chiaki blush bright red from embarrassment. Their arrogant reproach left her all too flustered to fully process the situation.
So, what's up?
One of the girls went on. Excuse me? Chiaki said wearily.
You were asking about Shibuya.
Yes, of course. Recoiling some more under the children's gaze, Chiaki chose her words very carefully. So, what do you two think about the city of Shibuya? Perhaps. The pair quickly lowered their eyes, their expressions forlorn.
It used to be so nice way back when.
Way back? Just when was way back for these two?
Nowadays, Shibuya has gotten all dead quiet. Yeah, it used to be back in the day you could just stand around here and see something interesting go down day in and day out.
Chiaki was utterly dumbfounded by the girl's ostensible worldliness. She listened in fascination as they continued.
Yeah, but even that was maybe something that sort of hinged on your mood. I hear you. Maybe it's just our mindset that's changed, that's all. So I'm guessing you've got tests coming up? Yeah, my mom will not shut up about nagging me to study. I'm about to start practicing for our interviews myself. Oh, it's too early for that. Besides, if anyone messes up the real thing, it's the parent. At some point, Chiaki became a bystander for the girls searing back and forth. Okay, these are the two girls talking back and forth. Okay. I find that, like, on a single still image like this for these side episodes, I find that I can never tell who's talking. It's harder for me to do voices. I just don't know who's talking at any given point. Man, I wish I had more freedom to do stuff. I started taking piano lessons to help with the enrollment test too. Guess you'll never wind up rich if you don't go all out. I hate money. Rich people always have these awful sunken-in faces. Yeah, a while back I saw a father and a son buying an entire box of trading cards, and they both look hideous. Yikes. It's kind of a sad story, though. The kid looked like he really wanted something else instead. That's the impression I got, anyway. And as usual, the parent was completely oblivious. Yeah, and so the kid had to put on this fake smile of appreciation and everything. I know how that goes. Chiaki felt increasingly inclined to leave, but she wasn't sure how to gracefully do so. Just leave. Just go. Parents these days, she reflected, were foisting off an awful lot of things onto their children. I feel like there's a connection here between this and then the father maybe that we met at the end of Wanderstop yesterday. They seemed to be completely ignorant of how much of a burden was too much. As she stood vacillating, the conversation continued. But yeah, when our kindergarten teacher plays the organ, there's some real soul to it. It's so moving. Oh, I love her organ playing. Even if it doesn't have anything to do with test prep, you need to learn how to play an instrument. Yeah, maybe I ought to change up my way of life.
Chiaki began to feel ashamed of herself. Ashamed that she'd been so simple in her thinking as to expect this interview to be easy. These kids were having a really tough time of things. Feeling pathetic for her own shallow, short-sightedness, Chiaki sank down to the pavement.
Whoa, hey lady, what's the matter?
One of the girls asked. Chiaki hung her head.
You got a tummy ache? Want some of this?
The girl held out her lollipop.
No, it's not that.
Chiaki was only barely managing to contain her tears.
Are you worried that this interview's not going well? You shouldn't let it get to you. It's not the end of the world or anything.
The cheer on the girls' faces brought Chiaki a small flush of consolation.
Yeah, keep your chin up. We can keep going with the interview. We can talk about whatever. There's this place I grab food from a lot that my mom doesn't know about. Maybe we can talk there? They got these stupid, nasty ajar jelly stripes. Or strips, even.
I don't think I know this place. I don't think this is any place that we've been to in the main story.
Yeah, my mom tells me I shouldn't spend too much on snacks, but you've got to sneak a little of that into your routine.
The two girls gently patted Chiaki atop the head. She could tell it just wasn't going to be her day. Amazing. Amazing. It didn't change the thing. I got the same hint. Hold on, is that a bug? That's definitely a bug. It's the same hint. Or do I have to go and do it? I wish I was as wise as these kindergartners. True and real. Okay, now it changed. What the hell? What was that? Okay. Did you enjoy the tale of these precocious preschoolers? None of us can go back to our childhoods, but we can give you some good hints. At Achi's story in the 1500 time log, Kachi and Hitomi are flagged down by Minorikawa. Take a close look after that. This path leads to a bad end, so the clue might be tough to spot. Oh, okay, I see. Well, we'll see what we can do about that at the very least. Have fun looking for it. See you next time. Bye-bye. Imagine getting a bug for something this convoluted. I know. It's like one bug can like mess up your entire life. Your entire life where it's like, I don't know what to do. I don't understand. Itomi Osawa's blood type is Bombay. I can at least remember that. That's not that hard. It comes up literally all the time in the story. Okay, cool. Yay! Yippee! Woohoo! Okay, who's gonna be who? Miku Morita. Okay, yeah. Alright. A straight right came her way just as she let down her guard. I was expecting her to be here. I just wasn't sure when she would show up. So, the blow caught her in the chin, and for an instant she saw white. As she was driven back against the mesh cage, a knee strike hurtled toward her. She managed to change positions just in time to dodge, blah blah blah, and closed distance with her opponent. Blood, Bombay, yeah. You know, well, you see, there's like this whole thing in the main story about Bombay blood. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Man, she's tough, Miku thought to herself. Bride's open-weight champion, Crybaby Mizuho, was a dyed-in-the-wool, tried-and-true fighter. One of Miku's eyelids felt like it was badly swollen. She was having a hard time seeing. Mizuho's hardy frame was a little more than a blur, and then the punch Miku had taken left her distinctly unsteady. Explosive blood. I forgot the game's explanation for Bombay blood. Yeah, it's a real thing. It is real. It is very much a real thing. It's a very rare blood type beyond like the typical 4, right? The A, B, and the O, and the A, and the B. Okay. So. What if this other woman rushed and tackled her? No doubt Miku would wind up on the mat where she'd be pummeled over and over. Or perhaps her opponent would instead make use of her expert footwork to deal out some more precision strikes. With the hurt Miku had already taken, dealing with that would be difficult as well. Miku was in a proverbial corner. Oh, how she just wanted to drive a fist right into Mizuho's big mouth. What are you gonna do, Miku? Did you come this far just to lose? Mizuho closed the gap. Her 180 centimeter tall, 80 kilogram frame came charging in. A thin smile showed on her doughy face. Miku had first seen Mizuho fight 1 year earlier. I'm looking into it now as a molecular bioscientist. This is awesome. yeah, it's very interesting. When I first heard about it, I was like, is this like something the game is making up? I had to look it up and I was like, oh, it's a real thing. There's a whole Wikipedia article on it. It's very interesting. Her face radiated weakness and she cried when she got hit. Hence her nickname, Crybaby Mizuho. But through her tears, Mizuho fought desperately, managing in the end to pull off a joint lock that won her the match. The crowd went absolutely wild at the Crybaby Fighters' underdog victory, but Miku was not convinced by Mizuho's performance. Mizuho was assuredly much stronger than she'd seemed. She'd taken karate lessons at a local dojo up through middle school, where she'd been on her high school intramural wrestling team, and lately had taken up jiu-jitsu. I'm shocked that, except for pregnancy risk and inability to find blood donors, that was the thing that came up in the game. Actually, as it's so rare, there's actually no negative side effects. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that was the big thing. That was the big thing of the game, where it's like rare blood. I need a donor, and it's just so hard to find a donor. So that was like a big plot point for everything. There was no way a woman like that could be such a crybaby. She'd been fighting at half her potential in order to make things more fun for the audience. Miku knew that since the matches at Bride were part of the spectacle, making things more fun for the customers was important. Even so, she wanted to see the champion fight at her full strength. And so she fought her way up the ladder to get that chance. After winning the match that had put her in position for the shot at the title, Miku had grabbed the microphone and shouted to both Mizuho and the crowd, "Mizuho, next time you're fighting me, and we're fighting for real." Afterwards, the manager had been furious. By saying fighting for real, you make it sound like all the other matches here at Bride are all fixed. It was true that the matches were indeed for real, with no outcome decided ahead of time, but Mizuho's crybaby persona was just an act, even if it was an entertaining one, and she spent the first part of each of her fights putting out a lot of fake tears. Miku scowled at the manager. "I don't want to fight Crybaby Mizuho. I want to fight Mizuho. I want to get a fight that's full force from the get-go." "You dumbass," roared the manager. "Take one look at her." Amongst the slender-framed fighters on Bride's roster, Mizuho stood out as the bulging and burly. And not even the most charitable standards in the world could have called her face pretty. "Mizuho's on the roster in the first place because of her crybaby character. If she gave that up, she'd be giving up her position at Bride." Miku fell silent. Was getting a legit fight out of Mizuho impossible then? She fretted anxiously until the title match finally came. Once the fight started, though, the other woman in the octagon was no crybaby. Mizuho unleashed a mighty punch the instant the gong sounded. The blow hit Miku like nothing she'd felt before. The impact shocked her even through her guard. Mizuho then shot forward like a rocket, tackling Miku against the cage. Miku clung to her tightly to avoid being taken to the mat. Mizuho whispered into her ear, "You wanted a real fight. Challenge accepted." Mizuho released her, then retreated to the center of the octagonal ring. Then she held out one hand, gesturing as if to say, "Bring it on." A confused uproar rose from the crowd. This wasn't how things usually went. Miku could feel every cell in her body jumping for joy. "Yeah!" She rushed at Mizuho with all her might. But the match quickly developed into a rather one-sided affair. Soon Miku was struggling just to avoid getting KO'd too quickly. Her opponent was strong, stronger than she'd imagined. Mizuho grinned as she charged forward. Miku was out of options. Was the bigger woman coming in for a tackle? As soon as Miku prepared to defend against the tackle, a wide hook came her way instead. So, do you all not have weight classes? Or are you just in the same weight class? Is it just like an open free-for-all? Because otherwise, yeah, they said open weight, didn't they? Well, Miku, okay, sure. Whatever makes you happy, sure. She barely managed to deflect it. Then Mizuho rooted her feet and launched into a flurry of punches. Miku was astounded by the fury of the attack. The champion threw punch after punch without bothering to guard herself. Finally, Miku was able to follow up with a single counterpunch of her own. She landed a clean right on the bridge of Mizuho's nose. A stream of blood poured out from the one nostril. With a gleeful grin, Mizuho stuck out her tongue and lapped at her own blood. Then she set her feet once more and threw another punch. She's very hardcore. Okay. The powerful blow clipped Miku in the temple, and her head reeled. Enraged, Miku retaliated with a punch of her own. Neither of the two budged as they traded blows. Before long, amidst the cheers, Miku and Mizuho were merely pummeling each other. There was no skill, no technique, just two bulls butting heads. Miku's molars clattered. Her lungs felt like they might burst. She was at her body's limit, just a little longer. It was hopeless, she knew that. But she had to hang in there. Just one more punch, she told herself again and again. Just one more punch. Only halfway conscious, she continued battering back at her opponent. There was an especially loud cheer from the crowd, and then suddenly someone grabbed Miku from behind. Stop! Stop! It was the referee. Mizuho was sprawled out at Miku's feet. Victory by knockout with a right hook! Even after the ref said it, Miku could scarcely believe what had happened. She stood there in a daze for a while, and then Mizuho came stumbling over to her. You got me, she said, fair and square. As soon as she saw the look of gratitude and respect on Mizuho's face, tears started streaming, I guess. Not dreaming, but that's a typo. Streaming down Miku's cheeks. She tried to hold them back, but they just kept coming. Hey now, only one of us gets to be the crybaby, Mizuho said, her voice husky with emotion. Tears had welled in her eyes, too. The two clung to one another, weeping. I'm so glad I was able to get a real match, and in the end, Mizuho whispered in Miku's ear. For several months after that, Miku defended her title. While she was warming up backstage one day, the manager came in carrying a cardboard box. Package for you, Miku. The sender was Mizuho. I thought it was going to be Boss, to be honest. The package was full of oranges. Mizuho had quit the day after their title match. Evidently, she'd gone home to take over her family's farm. Miku peeled the skin off one, pulled off a section, and ate it. The vibrant, striking, and bittersweet taste, so very reminiscent of their fight, filled her mouth like a little explosion. And that's the end. Stop giving me the how did you enjoy our tale of precocious preschoolers? There's no preschoolers. Stop it. Stop it. No. No. Okay, there we go. Dreaming of tears. Truly poetic. How'd you enjoy our tale of femme fatales forging a friendship through fighting? Well, put up your dukes because we've got some new info for you! At Minorikawa's story in the 1600 time block, Minorikawa takes a taxi to Heaven Publishing. He passes some strange writing on the road. Maybe take a closer look. Keep your eyes peeled and we'll see you next time. And by next time, I mean like in a few minutes because I'm gonna read the next story. Alright, I got a picture of that. Alright, and we continue. Special episode added to bonus content. Yay! Boss is managing director of this company. Boss has a company? what are you talking about? Huh? Yamato Health Foods. I don't remember this at all in the slightest. What the hell? Yamato Health Okay. Foods. Alright, cool. Can't be a boss without a company. Maybe, I don't know. I just thought he was just a guy that inquired stuff and then he hired people. Oh, hey, it's these two. Okay, this might be kind of interesting, honestly. Well, all of these seem to be like flashbacks or something that happened in present day. They don't seem to be like anything that's like, oh, this happened after, this happened after the story. The day that Achi came back to SOS, never mind, I'll shut up. I will shut up, okay? I guess this is one that actually takes place after the story. The day when, for the first time in a long while, SOS became whole again. Let's go back 2 weeks before that fated reunion. Never mind. Never mind. It's right back to where we started. Never mind. It's probably just a company in name only. I doubt he actually runs anything. Right, yeah, exactly. The gang was in the midst of a minor quarrel. But we have to set a proper example. The pool hall fell silent at Kiryu's aggravated outburst. Provoking the new second-in-command was a fine way to wind up the victim to the guillotine. And so the other gang members remained tight-lipped, warily looking on. Come on, Susumu, you know I'm right. Susumu didn't flinch under Kiryu's glare. Set an example of what? All you want to do is get rowdy because you feel like it. Look, just step aside. I've got business with that little punk behind you. Behind Susumu was a skinny teenager, barely more than a boy. He wore a look of abject terror, like a rabbit caught in the lion's gaze. What exactly is so fun about finding different excuses to terrorize your friends? Susumu asked. Kiryu snickered mockingly, then grinned. Good question. Guess it's cool messing with guys who joined up with SOS after I did. The conflict, as usual, had started more or less over nothing. Each night, the members of SOS gathered at their pool hall in Harajuku and had to go through that insane... it has to be canon. They go through that insane puzzle labyrinth each and every time they have to enter and leave the building. There was no set meeting time or anything like that. Around the time the place was teeming with other gang members, Kiryu would turn up. Susumu generally appeared shortly afterward. But today, the last person to show up had been the kid Susumu was currently shilling. As the young fellow quietly took a seat, Kiryu had suddenly blown his top. The hell do you think you're doing? The kid froze with fear at the ferocious shout, but his cringing demeanor only poured more fuel onto the fire. Whoever shows up last has got to apologize, you know? As Kiryu reached for his favorite makeshift wooden cudgel, Susumu had interposed himself. Susumu, are you seriously trying to tell me that SOS doesn't have a proper pecking order? That's not what I'm saying. Susumu continued to stare Kiryu down. Well, what's it matter? You don't understand anything anyway. Kiryu suddenly rolled up his right sleeve, then sat down and set his elbow on the table, his right hand raised and open like a claw. Want to settle this with a show of strength? A glimmer of challenge shone in Kiryu's eyes. You're on. Susumu sat down opposite him. Planting his elbow on the table, he reached across and clasped hands with Kiryu. Arm wrestling? Really? Not like a fight or anything, just regular arm wrestling. Okay. Kiryu squeezed back, as if threatening to crush Susumu's palms in his fingers. If I win, he said, you let me do what I want. Someone stepped out of the crowd to act as a referee. It was one of Kiryu's cronies. At once, the bar was gripped with excitement, as if a championship game were on the line. Waste that puck, Susumu! Come on, Susumu, you can do it! The leader had a strong showing of support from the crowd. You got this, Kiryu! But the upstart backing sections wasn't exactly small either. Looks like we got him all worked up, Kiryu said. He picked up an empty beer bottle with his free hand, then smashed it against the edge of the table. Shards of broken glass littered the tabletop between their arms. This ought to make things more interesting. Yeah, I bet it will. The referee leaned in, giving the pair's tightly clasped hands a quick tap. Ready? And go! The competitors. I can read. I know English. I promise. The competitors' biceps bulged. Both men started to shudder visibly. Their arms seemed to lock in place, neither giving way. Kiryu flashed a broad, leering grin, a vein popping out against his temple.
Man, you really are a wuss. You ain't leader material.
You think so, huh?
Susumu answered through gritted teeth. If you don't keep him on a tight leash, SOS will fall apart once it's finally gotten big enough.
Kiryu grunted as he started to bend Susumu's arm downward. You think or something? Whoever said anything about SOS getting bigger? Susumu replied. He struggled to force his arm back. The walls echoed with the sound of people cheering Susumu's name. Bolstered with their support, he mustered the last of his reserve of strength. But still, his arm would not move. Kiryu's grip held him like a vice. That the best thing you can do? Some leader you are. Then Kiryu put all his strength into his arm. Susumu's knuckles thudded against the table. Thin shards of glass stabbed into the back of his hand. Ow! Ow, that would hurt so bad. Thin shards of glass stabbed into the back of his hand. Yeah! Kiryu let out a triumphant cry of victory. Cradling his bloodied hand, Susumu grimaced back at him.
Oh, then, that settles it fair and square. I want to teach that kid a lesson.
Once more, Kiryu reached for his cudgel. The younger fellow tried to bolt away. Stop right there, Susumu called after him.
You finally come around, then, Susumu?
Kiryu asked. Thank you for the clip. Thank you for the clip of me knowing English. Yup, 100%, I know English. He twirled the piece of wood around as he sauntered slowly toward his prey. You stop right there too, Kiryu, Susumu added. Kiryu paused in his tracks.
Hey, what gives?
The kid tilted his head questioningly. Apologize to Kiryu, Susumu said. The youngster blinked in disbelief. I said apologize, Susumu said.
Yeah, okay.
The kid bowed his head deeply.
I'm sorry, Kiryu.
That should settle things, right, Kiryu? Kiryu went red in the face.
What the hell, man? Are you kidding me?
Enraged, he stepped forward to swing his club at the kid. I told you to stop. Susumu drove his bloodied fist right into Kiryu's face. There, he snapped as Kiryu staggered backwards. I think that's enough violence for one day. The look on his face was nothing short of blood-curdling. If that's still not enough for you, next up we can settle things with our fists. Once again, he and Kiryu were staring daggers at each other. With a click of his tongue, Kiryu was the first to look away.
Alright, I'll back off for today.
Tossing aside his club, he stomped out of the bar.
So, thank you so much,
murmured the kid apologetically. His gaze was fixed on Susumu's hand. Even as he told the kid not to worry about it, Susumu could feel doubt welling up like a storm inside him. Kiryu had said for today. At some point, the two of them really were going to wind up coming to blows. And Susumu couldn't lose that fight. No matter how tough Kiryu was, Susumu wasn't about to let him become the leader of the gang. Especially not considering who it was who put Susumu in that position in the first place. With a newfound determination, he clenched his injured fist, as if the blood continued to stream down. I almost wonder if I would have preferred this story if it had talked about, rather than these two, if it had talked about Susumu and Achi in their earlier days. I feel like that would have been an interesting sort of thing to talk about. Finn, how did you enjoy? That's not the tale. That's just not the tale. Let's try again. Did you enjoy the tale of heated showdowns between two rivals? Well, then get ready for some fancy footwork because here comes some sweet new info. In Minorikawa's story, in the 12 time block, the journalist flags down a man from the knick-knack shop as he's passing on a bicycle. Try waiting until after the background slips away and see what happens. Have fun looking, and we'll see you next time. Alright, cool. And I will take a screenshot of that so that I have that for later. Alright. Actually, I almost wonder. Okay. Just making sure. I was like, what's causing the issue with the bug? But I don't know. The answer is I don't know. On to question 7. The 22nd performance by the theater troupe, The Wandering Angels. What is this game on about? Why? Au revoir, apparently. Au revoir. Oh, this was the one with like the samurai influence, right? I think I remember that. I do remember this story a little bit. Yay! I guess we're gonna learn about the theater troupe now? Yep. Alright, cool. If I had to compare it to something, it would be gum stuck to the bottom of a shoe. I, Shinosuke Owarai, first came across the impulse when I was young. Oh boy, it's theater kid time, okay. It's good that you got in to see this when you were still little, my parents said to me. We had gone to see one of Shakespeare's 4 great tragedies, King Lear. The material was a bit difficult for me at my age. Even so, the dazzling sets, the sublime music, and the true-to-life acting struck me to my very core. How amazing it all was, to think that something like this existed in the world. It was a setting I want to hurl myself into. Au revoir is goodbye in French. Oh, okay. Good to know, good to know. And then you said something about samurai, and now I'm confused. Well, you see, how to describe it? Basically, something about samurais and like a cyborg or a robot. I don't know. It was something, whatever was happening in the play, it was like something very crazy and interesting. I do remember that. I can't remember the specifics though. I wanted to move others with the same impulse that had moved me. From that day on, these thoughts were never far from my mind. And then, when I was in 2nd grade, I made my debut as a stage director. When the school was deciding the program for the arts festival, I eagerly proposed King Lear. The rest of my class was, of course, rather flabbergasted. Yeah, but as no other suggestions were put forth, Lear was chosen. Really? We couldn't, like, write our own play? That would have been fun. I raised my hand to volunteer as director. Since the rest of the class was unsure what a director even was, and no one raised any objections. It was my directorial debut. I poured my heart and soul into it. Little did I realize that I started down a road of hardship. Yeah, that's how it goes. We had 10 days for rehearsal before the opening.
Why don't you know your lines? I told you that you had to have them memorized by today. Sorry, I forgot. You forgot? You think that's gonna cut it?
I lashed out at a classmate who had yet again dropped his lines when we were already well into rehearsal. How someone could fail to remember 3 measly lines was beyond me. It's because we're in 2nd grade, man. Like, give us a break. Thinking back now, I encountered a lot of awful actors over the years who simply refuse to listen to what their director tells them. What makes them so reluctant to faithfully follow directions? Are you really okay with the prospect of flubbing your lines during the actual performance? You could say them yourself, I'm busy.
The only thing you're busy with is TV and video games.
The class suddenly fell silent. I leaned back, sneering at them. A few of the girls began to whisper to one another.
Look at him acting all high and mighty when he's not even class rep. Yeah, he's not a teacher. He can't go around telling everyone what to do.
Everyone hates the director. I learned that from the television programs I watched to learn more about drama. Yep, I see where this is going. The director would pelt the actors and backstage crew with vitriol, toss them absurd instructions without compunction, and even hurl ashtrays across the stage. Don't do that. Don't do that. It was a job to perform without mercy. Directors don't lash out because they're bad people, mind you. But you have to be something of an ogre in order to assure both of you and the audience are satisfied when the curtain falls, to attain a sense of accomplishment that comes from true artistic achievement. Enough of the yammering! In my rage, I searched around for an ashtray. They don't keep those in elementary school classrooms, yeah. However, so I instead grabbed and hurled the nearest pencil case. It's only natural for a born director to behave with such intensity. Is there no teacher around just kind of like to stop you and be like, hey, bro, you're taking things a little too far. Calm down. No sooner had I thrown the case, however, than my homeroom teacher snatched me by the scruff of my neck. Okay, there we go. Before long, I was in the staff room, getting a lecture crammed down my throat. Then I was made to return to the classroom and apologize to everyone. Still, I had not lost my passion for a successful production of King Lear. I would not be disheartened by such a minor setback. At rehearsal after school the following day, the teacher addressed us. In order to take the burden off of young Mr. Oarai here, everyone will direct the production together. Okay. Yes, ma'am, the class replied as one. Well, everyone's happy with it. It was beyond absurd. Naturally, I was vehemently opposed to the idea. Teacher, the theater kids were at it again. Perfect timing. Yep, perfect timing, honestly. She's like, I feel like you should have stepped in a little bit earlier. He was getting a little carried away. Democracy has no place in the world of art. Let me just screenshot this real quick. Let me just screen. No. Hold on. There we go. There we go. Why is it autoplaying? How do I stop it? Autoplay disabled. Okay, cool. Whew. How do I go back here? Yes, ma'am. Democracy had no place in the world of art. It's just an insane thing to say. Okay. The enjoyment comes from the clash of individuals who excel in their given roles, each refusing to compromise one iota. But the teacher would have none of it. It's all well and good to take this seriously, but we don't want to repeat what happened yesterday. Let's all be friends, all right? Let's be friends. Did she think that fine art could be created by being friends? Oh, man. They were happy he wasn't being a menace anymore. Truly, honestly. I could only grimace at such a laughable misconception. And so began our new rehearsal system. We would practice a scene and everyone would offer their opinions about it. You need to look more at the person you're speaking to, I railed angrily. Where you look is important. Others chimed in from all around. Oh, what does it matter where you look? What if we tried reciting our lines while jumping? Say, I'm playing a tree. Can I have some dialogue too? I'm trying to figure out if it needs more yikes or more ta-da. No one could tell at this point whose instruction they should follow. Well, you know what? Just follow your own instructions, I guess. From the very outset, it was chaos. Everyone just said whatever they wanted.
There's no way I'm holding hands with a boy.
This costume looks dumb. How about something more, like, superhero-y?
Give me a new part. I should play the lead. Taste the wrath of the mighty Cornwell Slash. Stop all the rambling. Stick to the script. My anger had finally boiled over. We're all supposed to offer our opinions though, right? Yeah, Oarai, quit your belly aching. You're such a bellyacher. Bellyacher, bellyacher, bellyacher. This mad whirlwind, which no one in their right mind would call rehearsal, continued for days. A whole week passed. At last, once everyone finally realized that the new approach was getting us nowhere, I was reinstated as their play's sole director. There wasn't much time left before the main event. Never before had I thrown so much gusto into the craft. What's with that monotone? You need to put more feeling into it. You're not reading from a textbook. I was not one to go easy on my actors. But I'm shy. No excuses. You're not bringing enough realism to the part. You need to give it more oomph. Okay, fine. I'll try. Thanks to my fierce directing, the others had improved bit by bit. With just a little more patience, a truly grand sense of accomplishment could be ours. At long last, I was sensing real response to my work. And then it all changed. The boy who was playing the back half of the horse suddenly took down his pants. His underwear came next. Then he squatted down on the spot. His brow creased with the strain of effort. He was really doing this. The entire class threw into an uproar at the rather sudden development. Why? Girls ran away. Boys broke out laughing. The teacher rushed in unthinkably to cut both hands under the young fellow's backside, and I just stood there, dumbstruck. Once everything had finally calmed down, I went to talk to him. What were you thinking? I demanded. You said you wanted more realism, so I figured the horse should take a dump.
had no words. That sure counts as real, alright, someone called out. The class erupted into raucous laughter. The energy drained from me in an instant, and I collapsed to the floor. Real. Was that what real meant on stage? I couldn't deny that taking a dump qualified from a certain perspective. The bowel movement itself had definitely been genuine. It had been live. It certainly gave ambiance. Was that wrong? It hadn't been the kind of realism I'd been after. I'd been hoping for something else, for a sense that went beyond mere fabrication, that expressed the clashing of life's various emotions. Just amazing. Why would the teacher try to catch it? I don't know. She was panicking, probably. So many things can be said about this whole side story. In my confusion, I clutched my head. Was this somehow my art? Was this how my art was to fall apart? You stupid amateur! Before I knew it, I had blown my top, launching into a wild rant. I don't recall what happened next. I didn't recover right away, and wound up missing school for a while. The school arts festival went on without me. I heard it was well received. What is art? What is drama? What is man? What is the world? Whenever I try and ask and answer these questions, I always think back to that experience, back when I was young. If I had to compare it to something, it would be gum to the bottom of a shoe. No, an AM radio broadcast washed out with static. No, a cut of meat that's been steamed for too long. No, perhaps more like a sodden doormat. No, maybe it's more like, yes, it's something like a love letter, written in the dead of night. I got so much from reading that. How did you enjoy our tale of artistic agony? I hated it. Well, if you're serious about the craft, we got some good info for you. And kind of story in the 12 time block. Yay, Sasayama. Chasing after the kidnapper, see what happens. Have fun and see you next time. Okay. All of this was in the 2nd grade. All of this was going to be so important for the true ending of the game. Alright. Maria needs to be quarantined to prevent this. So the answer apparently is pandemic, which... I mean, she needs to be quarantined to prevent death. That's, like, a better way of putting it. Alright. Pandemic. Final answer. Yay! Alright. This will probably be the last story of the stream. I was not expecting these to go on for so long. Oh, thank goodness it's Chirico. Oh, thank goodness. I missed you, Chirico. This will probably be the last one of the stream. If that's the case, I don't know how this is gonna work. Alright, here's the thing. Should I, on my off time, should I go through... Would you guys be okay with me going through off stream and just getting all of the bad ends? Most of the bad ends, basically. So that it's filled out. I'm not gonna get all of them in case something unlocks, but like 99% of them, basically. Because I'm reading these out and there's a whole other side. There's 22 different stories. And I'm not even through the first 11. I prefer to see the bad ends. Quite a few of them are very fun to read, but it's up to you. Okay. In that case, I think this is just gonna have to be 3 streams. I think this is just gonna have to be 3 streams. I don't see myself completing this in next stream. In which case, maybe I'll schedule something for Saturday, we'll see. Either Saturday or Sunday. But I think that's gonna be the best way to go about doing this. I'm good either way, you can just update us on the interesting ones. Well, we'll try and get the bad endings, because the bad ends can be very interesting for stream. So, yeah, we'll try and get those on stream and then do maybe 3 streams of this. So, anyway, Chirico! There are 2 sheets of paperwork here. They're printouts of material found on some underground internet site. The contents are classified information from Okoshi Pharmaceutical. Why do you have this? In all likelihood, they were leaked from a PC that had been infected with some kind of spyware. Herein are the full details of the dreaded contents of those pages. Analysis results of Chiriko Osugi. What? The Research and Development Division, top secret, handle with care. 1. Findings. It has been confirmed that a previous unknown enzyme is being produced within the body of Chiriko Osugi, hereafter the subject. Enzyme name hypersustainant CHIRI'S after the subject. Effects. The main function of this is the digestion and breakdown of triglycerides. So there's a plot reason, there's a virus reason. Well, this is not related to the virus, but there's a medical reason as to why she can eat so much. When compared to the enzyme lipase, I don't know, which possesses the same functions. HC is capable of breaking down fats far more effectively and without the stimulation of exercise, and is effective in preventing excess fat accumulation within the body. However, once the subject's body fat percentage drops below 40%, her body no longer secretes the enzyme. The trigger for this change is unknown. Potential business plan. Market the enzyme as a diet food product or medicine. Especially when administered under strict medical protocols, the enzyme should be effective in markedly reducing body fat without need for surgery. Remarks. Planned 24-hour observation of the subject for a 10-year period underway. The reason that HC is no longer secreted after body fat drops below 40% has to be discerned as soon as possible. From this paperwork, it is evident that one of Japan's leading pharmaceutical companies is carrying out surveillance of private individuals in secret. Is this constitutional? The contents of the second page are even more shocking. Chiriko Osugi behavioral inducement proposal. Top secret, handle with care, general overview. Chiriko Osugi, hereafter the subject, is to have her dietary and exercise habits engineered. Okay. Goal, maintain the subject's body weight above 40% body fat. Reasoning. According to recent measurements, the subject's body weight is trending downward. The cause of this trend has been established as the subject's growing attention to her own diet. It has also been confirmed that the subject has taken massive doses of dietary supplement burning hammer. Okay, so this is the one story that technically takes place in the present. This could lead to substantial delays in research to HC methods. Further discussion is required to assess ongoing behavioral adjustment methods, but the following have been approved on a temporary basis. Osawa, are you reading this? Are you seeing this? In addition, other methods, once deemed effective, should be employed without delay. There is no upper limit on our expenses. Given the urgent nature of the situation, progress reports shall be issued directly to the project supervisor. EX. Entice confectionery store operated 5-star pâtissière to open shop in subject's neighborhood. Tomigaya. No way! Like, down to like where you open shops? Sponsor food products with excessive amounts of fat and sugar in the guise of product samples. Provide financial support for, or open additional franchises of, restaurants touting eat X servings and your meal is free. Yup. Speaking of, in the true end, I hope we follow up on that, because Boss and Chiri must have won that eating competition. Host an eating contest. 4. Remarks. As a full assessment of hypersustainant, HC, has yet to be completed, any hindrance to further research must be eliminated. We have also received reports that competing companies are aware of the subject's unique characteristics. Given the 10 years our company has already spent on the discovery of the subject and research into her unique physiology, the subject must be prevented from weight loss by any means necessary. We must attain a monopoly on HC. These are the contents of the 2 pages. Perhaps it's not mere happenstance that a number of tasty restaurants have popped up around Tomigaya recently. and free food samples are frequently available there, often given out right on the street. There are regular eating competitions held in Shibuya too, and a number of all-you-can-eat restaurants have been expanding, all for Chiriko, all for this one girl. Maybe it's all a part of the plan by Okoshi Pharmaceutical to research a young woman named Chiriko Osugi. Finn. Alright, that was my favorite one so far. That was my favorite one, to be honest. I was hoping that we would spend some time with Chiri, but you know what? I enjoyed this too, I'm not gonna lie. That was my favorite one. Did you enjoy the tale of Okoshi Pharmaceutical's mysterious plan? If you're hungry for more, well, we got some news for you! Okay, a cat creeps into the dark storehouse. Try taking a closer look at that scene. Keep your eyes peeled and see you next time. Alright. 428 restaurants! Of course, that's what it means! Of course! How could we be so blind? Oh, man. Okay, I think from here, we're all set to end for today. Save complete. Frank belonged to... Why would I remember that? Apparently, it's the Bomb and Arson Squad. Okay, cool. We're not gonna answer that right now. Yeah, it's like... Dang, there's really gonna be 22 special episodes. And I'm not even through the first half of it. Which is crazy. Alright, well... Today, we went through some of the stories. Some of the special episodes. It's very... I don't know how I feel about it, per se. One of this game's biggest strengths is that, and I talked about this another time, but that it establishes the tone of the story very early on, so that you're not going into the story with, like, false expectations. Which is to say that, like, yeah, these are serious characters, like, this is a heartfelt story, and this is a lived-in world, but for the most part, everything is generally pretty goofy and zany and out there. So, you know, just have a good time. Just have a good time, don't take it too seriously, just have fun, you know? But then the game requires you to, like, be super serious and methodical with, like, finding these answers, for example, and then you get, like, really out there stories. Like, this one was creepy, to be honest. The Kajiwara one was nice. I liked spending time with Kajiwara, but it wasn't my favorite story. The Chiriko one was great, to be honest. The SOS one was very, very good. But it didn't really add much to what we already know about SOS, to be fair. But it is good. This one it certainly was the story of all time. The Miku one was interesting. It did add some new perspective to Miku, which is nice. She's not my most, like, favorite character or anything, but she's there. The kindergartner one was weird. The boss one was... I like spending time with Boss, but I didn't find the story to be that interesting. This one was weird, but in a way that makes sense for 428 Shibuya Scramble, to be honest. So I'm not too hung up about it. And honestly, I really like the one with the thugs, in retrospect. When I was reading it, I was like, oh, this is kind of like a whatever story. But in retrospect, compared to, like, some of these other stories, I feel like this one is very, very grounded and very, very good. I really like it. So, I'm not sure how I feel about these special episodes, but I will go through them. We're gonna read all of them, and then we're gonna get the bad ends and call it for the game, I think. So basically 100%ing it. I love Boss's photos and facial reactions. It's true. he's great. He's fantastic. I kind of miss those. Yeah. He's very, very, very expressive actor here. So anyway, with all that said, let me go ahead and look for somebody to raid. Kua is online, so we're gonna go and say hi, actually. Kua being, of course, the one who designed who did my character design and also created this gift tuber model. So we are going to go and say hi. I might have to bow out because I do need to get some food. I need to eat some more, I think, to account for the fact that I'm exercising more. So we're gonna go say hi. And let me go over to ending screen. All right. Well, if you are here, thank you so much for hanging out. I really appreciate it. I will be back tomorrow with some Never 7, The End of Infinity. We'll be continuing that game, and I'll be back with some of this game on Thursday. So, yep. Have a wonderful night, everyone. Hope you have good food. You as well, for any of you who are going to eat now. I hope you all have some good, delicious food. Bye-bye. Bye-bye-bye. Bye-bye-bye.